Thank you. I would like to call the February 7th, 2022 meeting of the Town of Cicero Zoning Board of Appeals to order. Ms. Robeson, please call the roll.
Mr. Rabia?
Here.
Mr. Vick?
Here.
Mr. Mays?
Here.
Mr. Stanton?
Here.
Mr. Kerwin? And, sorry, Mr. Procopio?
Here.
Thank you.
Please take note of the fire exits located at the front and the rear of this room. At this time, please silence all cell phones and pagers. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Has everyone read the minutes of the January 10th, 2022 meeting? Okay. We'll figure out what was going on there, Mr. Mason, and get you squared away. Are there any corrections?
I'll make a motion to approve the January 10th, 2022 meeting minutes.
Okay, motion by Mr. Rabia. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Bick. When you're ready, please call the roll.
Mr. Rabia?
Yes, to the motion.
Mr. Vick?
Yes to the motion.
Mr. Mays? Mr. Stanton?
Yes to the motion. The Cicero Town Board acknowledges the importance of full public participation at all public meetings, and therefore we urge all who wish to address those in attendance to please come to the microphone located in the front of the room. At this time, I will make a motion that all actions taken tonight are type 2 actions and have a negative that is no impact on the environment unless otherwise indicated. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Second by Mr. Rabia. When you're ready, Ms. Robeson, please call the roll.
Mr. Rabia?
Yes, to the motion.
Mr. Vick?
Yes to the motion.
Mr. Mays? And Mr. Stanton?
Yes to the motion. I'll briefly review the process for tonight's meeting for the benefit of those present that have never been before the Zoning Board of Appeals. Each applicant will have an opportunity to describe their project. The board will then ask questions about the project. I will then open a public hearing where people will be able to speak for or against the proposed variance. The applicant will then be given the opportunity to respond to the public input and provide additional information. Board members will again have the opportunity to question the applicant. The board will openly discuss amongst ourselves the 5 factors that contribute to the final decision. Please note this board does not have a pre-agenda meeting, so there is no prior discussion of these cases outside of this meeting. And finally, a motion will be made either approving or denying the requested variance, seconded and voted upon. First case tonight is an application for 7789 Brewerton Road. The applicant is Kathy McAndrews from McCarr Property Management LLC. I believe Tim Coyer you are representing. So if you please come up and address the board.
Best. Good evening, Tim Coyer, Iannusian Romans Land Surveying. I am here to represent the applicant. Is basically the existing Brick and Brew restaurant located at 7789 Brewerton Road. It's on the west side of Brewerton Road, just north of what's south of Tully's or Copper Top. I'm sorry.
Okay.
We're here for an area variance. If you're familiar with the site, it used to have a drive-through along the south side of the building. Right now, they're actually using that area to the south for a patio, and they're actually serving customers over there currently. Well, obviously not in the winter. He's hoping to put a roof overhang over that patio area and the paved area so that when it rains and that kind of thing, they can keep having customers out there and keep serving customers out there. So we're here for an area variance for that side yard setback down there. And if you have my plan, you can see it's on the south side of the building. It's a proposed 42 by 18 foot roof overhang, and Mr. Nick Andrews is here. He can explain or talk about anything you want about as far as what the proposed roof overhang is going to look like. But they are going to it's going to basically extend out to where the existing curb is. And we also are looking for to put a storage shed there on the south side as well. It's located at the southwest side of the building. Understand that both the patio or the roof overhang and the shed is not going to affect any of the parking or the existing parking situation out there. They're not losing any parking with anything that they're going on. There's existing pavement there right now, so it's not taking up any new or existing green space. So we're hoping to get this in there so that they can have more customers in the summer when it's raining. If you would like, I could go through the 5 criteria.
Yes, please.
Sure.
Is the requested variance substantial? Yes, just numbers wise, it's the 33% reduction in the side yard setback. Will an undesirable change be produced in the character of the neighborhood, or will the granting of the area variance create a detriment to the nearby properties? We don't believe so. It's already currently being used for outdoor patio seating, and right now it's just going to basically continue to do so just with a roof overhang. Can the benefit of sought by the applicant be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance? Unfortunately, no, due to the location of the patio as it sits outside today. The building's already, just over 20 feet from the property line, and doing anything over there is going to require a side yard variance. Was the alleged difficulty self-created? Yes, we're here, we're asking for it. Will the variance have an adverse effect on nearby physical or environmental conditions? No, again, we're not adding impervious surface areas to the property. We're not changing any grading or anything like that. It's just actually going to improve the area as far as overall dining experience.
A couple things, Tim. It's actually 67%, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I'm sorry, switch that.
Yeah. How are you going to handle like water sheeting and snow sheeting off the patio overhang?
So I believe we're going to have some roof drains, or
Okay.
The drainage from the roof going to go into a system and come down.
Okay, so you keep everything on your property?
Yes.
So that leads me to believe this is going to be a legitimate hard extension of the building as opposed to some kind of awning.
And you can correct me if I'm wrong. It's going to be a physical addition to the building, but there's going to be like overhead doors that are going to be able to retract and open up. So it's going to be completely open to the air and all of that, but it can close up at night.
So you're blowing out the south walls, basically. Oh. Okay. Yeah, for sure.
There's a door currently on the side.
Yep.
Just like it is.
Okay.
Window originally. We kept the drive-through window originally when we built did the build out, but we moved it down so we'd have room for the bar inside.
Sure.
To pass anything out through we need, whether it's pizzas or what have you, out to the patio. So we close it up in the winter time, and then we take the insulator out, and summertime we're able to use that to pass pizzas and so forth through the windows.
Got it. So this extension will have the overhead doors, is what you're saying, right?
Yes, that's
Got
what we like.
Got it.
And then we could close it up when the windstorms comes in and so forth, just to keep everybody dry
Okay.
and to close it up at night.
So this is much more permanent than I thought. This is not just an extendable awning. This is a permanent structure then.
Yes.
Got it.
Hey, Steve, got a quick question. It looks like there's a fence. There is a fence between these two, the parking areas and the patio area? Yep. Okay. Did that require any kind of use variance?
The
At
fence?
the time, the fence?
No.
Okay. Curious.
Yeah, this was approved by the planning board. I forgot how many years ago, but the
You're right.
outside dining area was
2018.
part of that. And
Okay.
and the fencing.
All right.
Yep.
The fencing is on your side? Correct. Very good. Okay.
Yeah, that fence was part of the 2018 site plan that TDK did and got approved through the planning board.
Okay. That's when they built the Tim Hortons, or when you took over the restaurant? Then got it. Okay. tell us a little bit about the construction of the canopy? Just out of curiosity.
I don't have a lot of details for it. I'm not an architect or a builder by
Okay.
any means.
Is it
But-
a prefab canopy? Is
No,
it
we-
site built?
It's not a prefab, but we're just gonna have it built out, to whatever specs we have to, obviously, to satisfy
right.
the town. Hard roof, and then, you know, the corners coming up, but garage doors all the way around it, because quite frankly, everyone wants to be in the fresh air, but they don't want to get rained on, and it happens all the time, and
Of course.
we're not looking for anything just to cover the space up that we already use currently with, you know, the big
Sure.
tables and so forth under there.
Okay, thank you.
And Steve, the shed can be so close to the existing building because it's masonry. Is that the reason why or no?
Well, there are requirements for fire resistant ratings. So we'll
Okay.
get into that when it comes time to permitting.
Okay.
So it's really based on the material that the shed is constructed out of.
Right.
And the building.
But for
That
us,
helps.
for us
It
to approve
helps.
the shed, there are certain construction
That's
requirements
right.
have to be met.
That's right.
Okay, which you'll cover.
Yep.
What'll be stored in the shed?
What we plan on doing is storing, extra tables and chairs and some dry foods as well. We have literally very limited space back in that kitchen. It's a tiny kitchen. It was a coffee shop that we built back there. So having some dry storage, salt the sidewalks and the salt spreader, the lawnmower even, or anything like that, that we can just put somewhere other than the back room or in these small sheds that we have, will be so helpful. It's tight right now back there. Kitchen.
Any other questions at this point? Okay. So at this time, I will open the public hearing. 6:29 PM. Will anyone speak for this? Will anyone speak against this? This time I will close the public hearing. 6:29 PM. Does the board have any further questions? Okay.
No.
Would someone like to review the 5 factors?
I'll do it. So whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties will be created. The answer to that is no. I think actually this will be a nice little improvement to the property.
No. We usually go around and say if we agree or
I
disagree.
was with-
Oh, no worries.
Mr. Rabia?
I agree.
Mr. Vick?
I agree.
Mr. Mays?
He's a
Mr.
genius, that
Stanton?
kid.
I agree.
Whether the applicant can achieve his goals via a reasonable alternative, which does not involve the necessity of an area variance. Clearly to get the projection from the side of the building to get the overhang, the answer is no, you require an area variance.
Mr. Rabia?
Uh, I agree. I guess I agree with myself. Yes. Tricky me.
Mr. Mays? Mr. Stanton?
I agree.
Whether the variance is substantial, I think it is for sure. I mean, 67% relief, at least on the overhang, and 33% on the proposed shed is substantial. But again, I think in this case, likely not enough to deny the reason to deny the variance.
Mr. Rabia?
I agree.
Mr.
I
Mays?
agree. Oh, sorry.
Mr. Stanton?
I agree.
Whether the variance will have an adverse impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. I think we covered my concerns relative to, water shedding and snow shedding, just making sure it stays contained within the applicant's property. So I think the answer to that is no.
Mr. Rabia?
I agree.
Mr. Mays? Mr. Stanton? Mr. Vick?
I agree.
Mr. Stanton?
I agree.
And finally, whether there's been any self-created difficulty, of course, obviously asking for the variance is a self-created difficulty, but again, that's not a reason to deny the variance itself.
Mr. Rabia?
I agree.
Mr. Beck,
Agreed.
Mr. Mays, Mr. Stanton.
I agree.
So with that, I'll make a motion for McCarr Property Management LLC, Kathy McAndrews, 7789 Brewerton Road for an area variance where the proposed roof extension has a side yard setback of 4.9 feet. And proposed shed is set back 10 feet where minimum distance of 15 feet is required.
Mr. Rabia,
Yes, the motion.
Mr. Beck,
Yes to the motion?
Mr. Mays, Mr. Stanton.
Yes to the motion. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate your time.
Good luck.
Thanks for putting up with the delay too, guys. We appreciate it.
Tim was sweating it out though. I can see him. I can see him sweating it.
Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you, you too.
What was that?
You too. So our next meeting is scheduled for March 7th, 2022. Does anyone have any business before the board? Any other business? There being no other business before this board, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. Meeting adjourned.